Welcome to another episode of Rapid Reality Recap. We're going to talk about 3 shows today. The first one is going to be Love is Blind, The Reunion. Then we're going to talk about 90 Day Fiancé's The Other Way and the finale of The Real Housewives of OC. So let's begin. Oh, and side note, I'm not going to have a lot of visuals. So if you're like a visual person, you need screenshots and video clips, this is not the one for you. But if you want to listen to this recap and my thoughts, put in your earphones and you can do run errands or do chores around the house and just listen. Okay? Let's start with Love is Blind, The Reunion. Okay, first of all, okay, my overall thought after finishing it was, wow, everybody is self-producing and this needs to stop. This is exactly why we were dropped into in the middle of people's conversations and we had no idea what they were talking about before, what happened before, what the context was, because these people are fighting off camera and then they're bringing it to the camera in their own rehearsed planned version. Does that make sense? And that is not fun to watch. So I feel like they really need to have cameras all around like they did with Love Island. You know how Love Island has cameras everywhere except for the bathrooms? I feel like they need to do that with Love is Blind. Also, it's really obvious that they're really trying to push the narrative that this show really works. Oh my God, I just said really 3 times. They're really pushing that there are beautiful, successful marriages that come from this experience. And I understand that in the recent years, they've gotten a ton of criticism and they've gotten into some lawsuits. So I think that's why they're trying to work on fixing their image. And it really showed. It was so obvious because Nick and Vanessa were covering Ashley and Tyler's asses so hard. Well, not Ashley's ass, but Tyler's. They were just covering for him so hard. They were protecting him. They were like, oh my God, they're one of our golden couples, because they only had 2 couples from the season and they have to protect Ashley and Tyler. So initially when the reunion just started, I was very impressed because Vanessa went right into it. We were 6 minutes in and she asked Tyler to clarify the situation with his kids and the sperm donation. And I was like, oh, okay, we're already getting into this. I like this. But side note, Ashley looked like she was more nervous than him. She was swaying back and forth and she clawed his knee, made sure that they were on the same timeline and they had the same story. They were going to not mess up in their rehearsed scripts. And she was giving, I'm going to defend my man energy. She was ready to go. So he starts off by saying how the kids were never supposed to be a part of the show and now their information is all public, like their birth certificates, which is crazy. That should not be happening. And he talked about how he was helping out a friend and then, blah, blah, blah. The friend's wife left the kids, blah, blah, blah. Okay, Vanessa looked like she was listening to a tragic story. Look at her face. She's like, oh my God, so sad. And Ashley looked like she was about to burst. She looked so tense and nervous. She was staring right at him and honestly, I think she was ready to pounce on anybody who interrupted or who challenged him or who asked him any inappropriate questions or who called him out. She was his bodyguard. And then he ended his whole story with, the only person I need to respond to is my wife and she's here with me. She knows the story and that's all that matters. Okay. Is that it, Nick and Vanessa? Do you have any questions you want to ask him? Nope. No questions. Ashley jumps in and she starts talking a whole lot of nothing. Blah, 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 blah. The thing about humanity is blah, 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 blah. I knew everything and we were reenacting our private conversation in front of the cameras, but in a narrative that would protect the children. It's all about the children. We can't talk about it because of the children. We need to think about the children. What a cop-out. And listen, I get it. I get that children should be protected. And obviously, if the kids have no idea that Tyler is their dad, then of course, I understand not wanting to say it on national television. But according to social media, he was very active in their lives up until he went to the show. And then since going on the show, allegedly, he ghosted them. They didn't hear from him. They haven't seen him. So why wasn't that addressed? And that was it. Nick was like, oh yeah, I understand it's a very sensitive subject since there are children involved. So out of respect of your children's privacy, we're not going to talk about it anymore. So Vanessa's like, oh, so how has your marriage been? Oh, we're so happy. We love each other so much. Marriage is good. I've never had anybody care about me like this. Blah, 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 blah. The end. That's it. Their segment is over. The heat is off of them. Actually, they didn't even catch any heat. I feel like Vanessa and Nick were clearly instructed to protect the couples. There were only 2 couples that came out of this season, and they were their golden goose. They needed to protect them. Don't push them. Don't question them. You know, just kind of like address it without really addressing it, and then move on. And you know what was so annoying? And I'm sure a lot of people can agree, but why were the old contestants there? Do you think we give a fuck about any of the past contestants? No. If we gave a fuck and we wanted to see what they were up to, we would follow them on social media. I'm sorry. I love AD. She looked amazing, but I don't care. Like, I don't care who you're dating. We have so much shit to cover, and they spent like 10 minutes on each old couple. And I know 10 minutes might not sound like a lot, but there were like 4 or 5 old couples. There was, we had AD, we had Jessica, we had Bliss and Zach, we had Marshall, we had, I can't remember. Was there anyone else? I don't know. Who cares? But there was so much time being spent. Oh, God. And then they were talking about Bliss and Zach and the baby. We don't care. We don't care. They even did a flashback of their season and their love story of their pods and their wedding. We don't fucking care. Then they brought up Jessica from season 1 and her husband, who she didn't even meet on the show. So why the fuck do we care? You guys, every single time an old contestant came up, the way I quickly snatched my remote control and fast forwarded. I was like, zzz. Next is Marissa and Ramses. Oh my God. First of all, Ramses, okay, what were these people wearing, by the way, especially the men? Like Ramses and what's his name? Garrett. They shopped from the same closet. Ramses looked like he had to take the fattest shit in his pants the entire time. It looked like he was squeezing, he was clenching his ass cheeks together so hard. And if not, he was about to burst. He looked nervous. He looked scared. He looked nauseous. He was sweating. I don't think he's ever going to be back on TV. I think he's truly traumatized from this experience and like the audience's reactions to him. Marissa, her energy was so misdirected. She decided to take out all her anger that she had for Ramses onto Nick. I felt like that came out of nowhere. I didn't even know she and Hannah were such best friends. I feel like they don't have anything in common. It had to have been projection. I feel like she had so much resentment and anger towards Ramses, but she couldn't yell at him because she still loves him. She has a lot of feelings for him. The way her voice shook, the way she couldn't look at him, she couldn't make eye contact. She burst into tears every single time she addressed Ramses. Yeah, so I think Nick took all the heat for it. It was clear to me, in my opinion, that obviously, Nick did talk about Hannah's looks in a negative way. I do believe that he called her a grenade. He called her a 5 out of 10. But the way Marissa and Hannah were working overtime to get him to admit it, and he wouldn't, and they just got amped up, and then Monica got in, and then Alex got in, and then I think a little bit of Brittany. I'm not sure. But I didn't really care anymore because he was not the right fish to fry. There were bigger fish to fry. Nobody cares about Nick. I mean, we don't really care about Nick. Like, there's so many other people that we need to grill. Honestly, I wish Nick just admitted it. He could have just said, I did make a comment and I shouldn't have said that. I'm really sorry. That was not okay for me to say, and I apologize. That's it. It would have been done and they would have moved on. But because he denied it, it just went on and on and on and on and on and on until Ramses, because he told the guys, and Ramses was there, Garrett was there, Steven was there. And so Ramses was the one who had to be like, yeah, you did say that. Like, come on, just admit it. And he was like, okay, yeah, I did say that I was not impressed with her looks, but I didn't call her a grenade. Same shit. You should have just admitted it, okay? So Hannah and Marissa and Nick are arguing back and forth, back and forth. Garrett over there is rolling his eyes. Oh my God, this is so immature. Shut up, Garrett. If you're not going to contribute to the conversation, then shut up. God, I got really annoyed with him. It didn't help that he looked like freaking Lord Farquaad. Vanessa basically asks Hannah, do you regret treating Nick like shit? And she goes, no, I'm very direct. I'm direct. I'm a direct person. I'm very direct. I've always been direct. I'm blunt. I'm direct. That may come off harsh to Nick, but I'm very direct. That's just the person I kind of am. Direct. Listen, direct does not mean that you're a fucking asshole. Direct does not mean that you put people down. Direct does not mean that you belittle them, that you make them feel like shit. So I hated how she was just like, I'm direct. I know, direct. I'm direct. She does not apologize. She doubles down. And she's just so unlikable. At one point when Vanessa was asking her how she was doing and if she was okay, like what's going on, and all eyes were on her, I think she felt overwhelmed and she got very emotional. She started to cry, and I do not believe she was faking the tears for the camera. I think she truly was overwhelmed, and maybe she felt embarrassed. I don't know, but she started to cry. And then did anybody notice how Nick jumped in to kind of defend her, to kind of take the heat off of her, because she started crying, and then he was like, listen, Hannah's fantastic. She's been getting way too much heat online. Like, that was so nice of him. He didn't have to do that, but he did, because he's a nice person. And then Hannah goes, and why are you liking hate comments about me? I mean, okay, fair question, I guess. And I think he started to respond because he was like, yeah, I get it. I don't know if he was going to apologize. Who knows? Because she cut him off. And this part was the craziest part for me, because she was trying to do like a gotcha moment. She was trying to make Nick into the villain by sharing his journal entry. Okay, sharing that his goal that he wrote down in his private journal that she looked through, his number 3 goal. He had 3 goals, his 90-day goals. And the third one said to become the most famous person on Love is Blind. And that was her gotcha moment. That was the bomb that she was saving so that everybody would, I don't know, wake up and just, suddenly side with Hannah and realize that Nick was the villain. He was the wrong one. He was the Trevor. I think she was trying to make a Trevor out of him. And it didn't work because she literally said, after our breakup, my friends and I were in our shared apartment and we were like, let's just go through his shit. So Hannah just admitted that she and her friends went through Nick's stuff in the apartment. And with the notebook, it was on the table, which Nick confirmed. And her friend just happened to open it, and she just landed on a page with his goals. And this was her gotcha moment. She was like, one of his goals in his notebook was to be the most famous person in Love is Blind. And she said that as if we were all gonna suddenly side with Hannah. Are you kidding? You went through his things? Do you understand what you just said? It's so invasive and so awful. And that alone is disgusting, right? Going through his stuff. And then she comes to the reunion and airs it out, shares it with everybody what was written in his private notebook. And that's not enough. So she ends up posting a picture of that entry on social media. What the freak is wrong with her? So after she says all of that on the reunion stage, he clears it up. He's like, yeah, I did write that. And then he talks about how he was writing his goals, But like, who cares? Who cares? Everybody who goes on one of the most famous dating shows in America wants some level of fame. And that's okay. Like, who cares? Everybody's trying to get clout who's on reality TV. But for Hannah to be like, you wanted to become the most famous person on Love is Blind. And hello, she quit her job to come on the show. So who's really chasing fame here? Like, what? And ever since the season ended, Nick hasn't really been posting much. I mean, he posts like real estate stuff and I don't know, like some little updates. But you want to know who's all over social media posting content? Hannah. Yeah, it's Hannah. She's all over social media, the TikTok, the Instagram, everything. And this is where Marissa kept jumping in and attacking Nick for Hannah. And yeah, I really truly believe that Hannah was trying to make Nick into the Trevor, last season's Trevor, and it didn't work because she's a shitty person. And okay, maybe he did talk a lot of shit about her behind her back, but you know what? Nobody cares anymore because she was such a horrible person on camera, and that's all we saw this whole season. So I don't know, maybe she should have hit it a little better. Oh, and at one point, Hannah was trying to she thought she was doing something by saying that, Nick, all the girls that you've been DMing, you're trying to fly them out to the reunion. I know about that. Who cares? Y'all are broken up. You guys aren't together. He can DM whoever the fuck he wants. Leo and Brittany joined the stage. Leo went from being the villain to the hero. He owned up to everything. He sincerely apologized. And on the reunion, he came off very likable. Did anybody else think so? The reunion ended and I liked him. I've actually been following him on social media and he's really funny on social media. I actually started liking him for when I saw his TikTok and his Instagram videos. He's actually really funny. But he's so likable at the reunion that Tim cannot stop praising him. Tim's obsessed with him. I've never seen Tim light up. I've never seen him smile so bright. I've never seen him talk so positively about anybody the way he did with Leo. Now it's Steven's turn to not get grilled. He was like, I'm sorry, I don't want to say what was on the text because I deleted them, so I don't remember. But then a few minutes later, he confirmed that he never deletes his text threads. So which one was it? He's a liar, pants on fire. And then he plays this tiny little violin about how nobody believes me. Nobody cares about my truth. What can I do for people to listen to me? Boo fucking who? He can't keep his story straight. He said he went to the sleep study. Okay, he brought up a picture to prove that he was at a sleep study. And then he said how this random girl texted him and he only knew of her on social media and they only texted for one day. And then Monica was like, I saw the text. There were paragraphs and paragraphs and there were pages and pages. It just went on and on. And then he said, oh, I mean, I've known her for years and we've texted before and I never delete my text threads. So that's why you've seen all our old texts. Bro, you just said you deleted the text thread. That's why you can't remember what you guys texted about. Oh my God. Liar, pants on fire. Next is Alex and Tim. Okay, we all know these two could not be more wrong for each other, right? But Tim is low-key scary. He hates women. It's his way or no way. And he's so angry about being called a little baby bitch. And I'm not saying that that was okay to do, that was mean, but he was so angry over that. And I bet you if she called him a little baby dick instead of a bitch, he wouldn't have been that upset. I just have that feeling in my gut. I just have a feeling he was especially offended by being called a bitch. He hates women. That's a feeling I get, so. He was so pressed the entire time Alex was sharing her side of the story. His face was red. His neck was red. He was shaking. He was bitching. You know what? You are a little bitch, Tim. Just kidding. Don't come at me. But honestly, he has issues. And I feel like a lot of us called it back when he was in the pods because he said a lot of things that had major red flags. Oh, and also remember how when they were in Mexico, they had that argument and he was talking about how she put her hands over his mouth. And honestly, we all kind of assumed that she assaulted him and she was very aggressive. But now hearing her side of the story, it totally makes sense. She said that they were in a heated argument and his voice was getting louder and louder and louder. And the cameramen and the producers were coming to film them. Okay. And she was trying to keep this fight off camera to protect him and his image. And so she covered his mouth as in oh my God, they can hear you. Please be quiet. That type of a cover mouth. So that is totally different from how he made it seem. Listen, Tim is a bunch of red flags. And if you go back to my recaps, I said it from the first recap. There's just something about him that I can't put my finger on, but now we know he hates women. All right, last is Taylor and Garrett. I still love Taylor. I really do. I think she's too good for Garrett. I don't know why nobody asked Garrett about why he freaked out when he found out that Taylor wasn't white. How come nobody asked him that? How come nobody asked him why he lied about not responding to his ex's DM? Nope. I was kind of sad for Taylor when they said that they were moving back to DC because Garrett doesn't like being away from his friends and his family. But the thing is, Taylor made it very clear in the beginning of their relationship that it was very important for her to be in San Francisco with her family. And they agreed on that. And it doesn't even sound like, according to Garrett, that they lived in San Francisco. So did they even give it a try? Did he even actually try? Because he said something like they stayed there for a bit and then they traveled a lot. So what the hell? I don't know. I was just sad for Taylor to hear that they were moving to DC. And then we meet 3 cast members from the next season, Minneapolis. For what reason? I don't know. It was pointless. And then at the very, very end, everybody had a toast. And then Leo, apparently he's such a good freestyle rapper because Tim hyped him up so much, saying that he was better than some of today's rappers. And he was such a good lyricist. And this is what Leo came up with. And I quote, "At the reunion, we'll all have some fun. To love is blind. We've all had our time. Cheers." All in all, the reunion sucked. Moving on to 90 Day Fiancé the other way. I'm just going to talk about James and Tata because they took up the entire episode and a little bit of maybe Shekinah and Sarper. So the wedding is over. James tells Tata that they have to move back to America because things are just not working out and they're running out of money and he can't find a job, she can't find a job. And what are they going to do? They got to go back to the United States. And I just can't believe that he left his family. He left not only his family, but the family business. He was a very integral part. He was very important. And he just dipped last minute without giving them a heads up to move to Indonesia without a plan. He didn't even have a job lined up. He didn't have a plan. They didn't really have savings. And his dad's not even talking to him right now. That's how mad he is, understandably. And he's just gonna move back to America and beg for forgiveness and beg for his job back again. Remember, this is not his first time doing this. He's done this before. Neither of them have any direction. They don't know how to plan anything. They just do things without thinking. So she meets up with her sisters. One of them is Angel, the one who hates James. And she starts sobbing. She's like, "James wants to move back to America." And then Angel starts sobbing. And then Tata's sobbing again. And I'm just like, why is Angel crying? It's not like she lives in the same town. She lives in Bali, which is apparently 10 hours away. So it's not like they're going to see each other often. So what's the difference? Why does that matter where she is? So Tata goes back home. She tells James that she told her sisters that they're planning to move to America, and James is very upset. He's like, "Why didn't you talk to me about it? I'm your husband. We need to communicate. Now I'm embarrassed. Now they're going to look at me like I'm a failure." And then he starts crying. And then she starts crying. And then everybody's crying. Tata demands to know, how long are they going to stay in America? And he's like, "I don't freaking know. Why did y'all get married? Y'all should have talked about this before you got married. This is so damn annoying." She's now telling James that he needs to sponsor Angel because she wants her sister to be able to visit America and to stay with her. And oh my God, I'm just like, what the hell? But honestly, at this point, he should because he wants to go to America. He has to work. She's lonely. And if Angel were to be able to visit and she had some family in America, then at least she'll stop bitching about wanting to go to Indonesia and how she's homesick and she misses her family. At least she'll shut up about that, kind of. In my professional potato opinion, I feel like they should move to America. He can work, he can make money, and Tata can visit Indonesia every single summer for like 2-3 months. Okay, so Shekinah and Sarper. Shekinah got her nose job. She got her cast or her bandages taken off, and it looks really good. I love the little upturned tip. It's not too much. It's very subtle. I thought it was really cute because sometimes you see nose jobs where they turn the tip so much that it kind of looks like a piggy nose. And I thought Shekinah's turned out so good. Honestly, if you look at her face as a whole, you can't really tell. But if you look at just her nose, you can tell that there is a big difference. Like they smoothed out the bump and then she has like a little cute little upturned tip. It's so cute. Guess whose visa got approved? Sarper's. Yeah, so Shekinah dressed up in this lace outfit. She looked so freaking unbelievable. Oh my God, I could not stop staring at her boobs. They looked so good. And she wore his favorite wig. And he comes home and he just looks at her like he's this starving animal and she's the juiciest piece of steak. Oh my God, the way he looked at her, he was like, And then she's like, surprise, your visa got approved. We're going to America. And he's not very happy because he wants to stay in Turkey. And he's trying not to come off as disappointed because she's so excited. So he doesn't want to ruin the mood. So he tries to act happy. And then he treats her with a dance. And I don't know what kind of dance he was. He was like, okay, hold on, Shekinah. I'm going to go inside, change, and come back out. And he comes out in, I don't know, he wore like this black pair of leggings on his head. And he just started dancing like I don't know what it was. But and then he started like doing sexy dances. And I just don't understand how they can be so serious in front of the cameras when they do this. This is so cringy. If I were her daughter, I'd want to gouge my eyeballs out and slit my wrists. Statler and Dempsey are still effing miserable. So nothing's changed there. The end. Now let's end with the Real Housewives of OC, the finale. Now just a few notes. I'm not going to go over the whole episode. Jen's engaged. She has a huge fat rock on her finger. But she can't pay rent, but she has a giant ring. Ryan can't pay rent, but she has a giant ring. Make it make sense. I don't know, whatever. Alexis is throwing the engagement party, which is kind of random because it's not even at her house. It's at Katie's house. Okay. There's a quick edit about the kids, and I don't really care about the kids, but if you care, Jen's kid wants to join the Marines. Heather's kid is going to college and he's been selling houses. Tamara's kid writes music. Katie's kid legally changed her last name to Matt's last name. I want to talk about Travis and Gina because Travis gave me the ick. I mean, I side-eyed him in the beginning of the season when she was moving out and he was just such a Debbie Downer. And I didn't understand, like I didn't have the full, like I didn't know exactly what was going on. We all assumed that Gina was making more money and she wanted to live in this bigger house and Travis couldn't afford it. So she was like kicking him out. That's the narrative that I think like we all thought. But it turns out that Travis's ex-wife is a psychotic biatch who is harassing Gina and her kids. So yeah, I'm going to move out if I were her. Hell no, Travis, sorry, you have to deal with all that on your own. I don't want my kids involved. So they're living separately. And he's like, I don't think it was the right decision. Shut up. When you're faced with adversity, you pull away and that makes me sad. Shut up. She already feels so guilty. She's always crying when the topic is brought up. And he just doesn't help. He doesn't do anything to help. He makes it worse. I don't like him. And I think she can do better, honestly. It feels like he's bringing her down. He's not adding anything to her life. He's just kind of like making it worse. This drama between Heather, Emily, Katie, and their kids is so ridiculous. It is so dumb. Why is Heather so pissed off about people calling her mean? She is mean. It's not like they started a rumor about her and Terry's marriage, they're breaking apart, or like someone's cheating, like nothing diabolical. They said you are mean, and you are mean. So what? Own it. Own it. Own it. And for Heather to be like, ooh, Katie, you're so evil. Oh, come on, please. Oh God, I can't with Heather. I'm so over her. I honestly think she's just mad at Katie because Katie's not up her ass like everybody else is. Then effing Shannon yells at Matt for no reason. And I felt so bad for him because Matt was in the corner. He was probably hiding from all the commotion, all the cameras to catch a break, to catch a breather. And Shannon just happens to like be where he is. And so the cameras follow. And then he notices the cameras and he has to like turn his, personality on, like, and he has to mask and he's like, oh, hi, what are you doing here? And she's like, I'm done. Every time I say I'm done, I come back, but this time I'm done. And Matt's like, yeah, I care about you. You've been nothing but kind to me. And I think maybe it's time for you to go. How could you say that? How dare you? I mean, it was just insane. He was like, what the hell is going on? He was so caught off guard. And she yells at him and she runs off to Katie and she's like, I have to talk to you about the inappropriate. Your husband said something very inappropriate to me. Shannon, you can't do that. You can't do that. That's so messed up. And so now I'm side-eyeing Shannon for sure. I think she's getting away with so much right now because everyone hates Tamra. John Jansen pulls up to pick up Alexis. What a joke. Nobody cares. Get off. We don't need you next season. Please leave. Leave us alone. Thank you. And then at the very, very end, we find out that Tamra was right all along about Ryan. He is a shady motherfucker. He was allegedly laundering money through casinos in Vegas with his buddy, Matt, not Katie's husband, but the other Matt that we saw at the party. They found $16 million out of nowhere. We don't know where it came from, into his bank account. And apparently Ryan wasn't charged with anything. He actually got off on immunity, and his buddy over there, he's facing 18 years. So you would think Jen would leave him, right? She wouldn't stay with him because he's shady. He's in some illegal stuff. But no, she's staying with him. Their wedding is scheduled for 2025. And I did not know. First of all, that makes her a loser, okay? You're a loser if you're going to stay with that man. But okay, she's like, I finally found a man who loves me and who listens to me and my best friend. Okay. I was going to say, I did not realize that she cheated on her husband with Ryan. She blew up her entire family for Ryan. So that's why she's more inclined to make things work and to stay, because she doesn't want to prove everybody right, especially Tamra, that Ryan is a bad guy. So she's going to stick with him, which I don't understand why she would do. Why would anyone do that? I don't know. But I'm excited for the reunion. The Housewives reunions are so good. They're nothing like the lame ass Love is Blind reunions. Nope, they actually address everything. They fight, they hash it out. I love it. And also I can't wait to see what they're wearing as well. For next season of OC, season 19, I would like the same exact cast, honestly, for next season, except for Alexis. Alexis, we don't care about you. You can go, but everybody else can stay. Heather Dubrow can go as well, but if she stays, it's not a deal breaker. But I need her to find something else, okay, and lay off Katie. Find another storyline, please. All right, well, that's it for the rapid reality recaps for the 3 shows. I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know all your thoughts in the comments, and I will talk to you guys in the next one. Bye.